Welcome back to Retirees News and Updates, your trusted source for the unfiltered truth on everything affecting your retirement security. If you're a senior over 50 tuning in today because you've heard whispers about Social Security changes and you're desperate for real, no-nonsense info, hit that subscribe button right now and ring the bell. Because what I'm about to expose could hit your wallet, your health, and your peace of mind harder than any inflation spike we've endured. We're talking about a ticking time bomb in the Trump administration's playbook, and it's aimed straight at the heart of Social Security disability insurance. The program that's kept millions of us from the brink of poverty after decades of hard work. Picture this. You've paid into Social Security your entire life. Every grueling shift at the factory, every long haul on the road, every late night behind a desk, building that safety net for the day when your body says enough. And now, as of November 2025, with nearly 8.1 million Americans relying on SSDI and another 7.3 million on SSI just to make ends meet, the rug is about to be yanked out. Reports from the Center for American Progress and the Washington Post are screaming it loud. The Trump team is fast-tracking regulatory overhauls that could slash eligibility by up to 20% for new claimants, and a gut-wrenching 30% for us older adults. That's not hyperbole. That's the cold math from experts at the Urban Institute, projecting hundreds of thousands, maybe even 750,000 over the next decade, locked out of benefits they've rightfully earned. We're not talking vague promises or election season fluff. This is a secret plan leaked through drafts and insider whispers, echoing the near-miss cuts from Trump's first term that the Wall Street Journal flagged back in 2020. Let's cut through the fog with the urgency this demands. These aren't just tweaks. They're arbitrary barriers designed to choke off access at a time when our system is already buckling. Right now, more than two-thirds of SSDI applicants get denied after jumping through hoops of paperwork, medical exams, and endless appeals. Add in the nightmare delays. Nearly 1 million of us waiting as of July 2025. Thanks to chronic understaffing gutted further by the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Tragically, in fiscal year 2023 alone, 30,000 people died in that queue, their claims unresolved. And the Trump administration? Instead of fixing this mess, they're plotting to raise the bar even higher, specifically targeting age as a factor in eligibility. Under current rules, the Social Security Administration recognizes that after 50, our bodies were down differently. It's harder to pivot to simple, entry-level work when arthritis grips your hands or your back screams from years of lifting. But get this. The forthcoming rules could eliminate age considerations altogether or jack the threshold to 60, per Washington Post reporting. No more presumptive disability for a 50-year-old limited to sedentary jobs. Suddenly, you're expected to adapt like a 40-year-old tech whiz, ignoring decades of wear and tear. This isn't progress. It's a cruel rewrite that pretends longer lifespans mean we all magically rebound into the workforce. For older claimants like you and me, denial rates could skyrocket, forcing us to claim early retirement at 62, slashing our monthly checks by up to 30% for life, while piling on poverty risks we can't afford. The fallout? Devastating. And it's not just numbers on a page. Without SSDI, half of us under 65 would plunge into poverty overnight. No exaggeration. That's the stark reality keeping families afloat today. Approval for these benefits isn't a handout. It slashes bankruptcy odds, staves off foreclosures, and literally saves lives by cutting mortality rates for low-income folks. Remember Reagan's 1980s purge? Hundreds of thousands booted off rolls for cost savings, and by 1987, at least 21,000 were dead, including suicides triggered by those termination letters. History doesn't have to repeat, but Trump's crew is scripting a sequel, weaving these cuts into an overhaul of job data that's been stalled since the Obama era. Sure, updating 1,991 era stats on available jobs sounds benign, even positive, but it's the perfect Trojan horse to redefine capacity in ways that boot more of us out. And don't get me started on the ripple effects hitting seniors hardest. Lose SSDI or SSI? You lose automatic Medicaid for SSI recipients or Medicare after 2 years for SSDI. Right as the big beautiful bill's broader slashes to those programs kick in, hammering disabled elders and kids alike. Suddenly, you're dodging work reporting mandates for SNAP or Medicaid starting 2027, risking food on the table for your grandkids. For the over 50 crowd, denied claims mean no return to work, just a void where income should be, pushing us toward ramen noodle retirements we never signed up for. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities warns this could strip benefits from nearly 400,000 low-income disabled and older folks via SSI tweaks alone, adding red tape to an agency already short-staffed after DOJ's 7,000 job massacre. Even families pay. Over 1 million kids under 18 draw SSI for their own disabilities, 950,000 more from a parent's SSDI, and millions more lean on those checks indirectly. Tighten the rules, and those lifelines snap. Echoing the GOP's Project 2025 blueprint that's already fueling these moves under OMB Director Russell Vought. On X, seniors are sounding alarms. Posts from everyday folks like at Murray O'Sullivan to decry it as the new eugenics, tying it to broader slashes in Medicaid and vets benefits. Congressman John Larson and 165 Democrats are fighting back, slamming it as cruel and reckless. Folks, this is your wake-up call. Urgency isn't a buzzword. It's the deadline staring us down in 2025. Social Security disability isn't optional. It's the anti-poverty powerhouse that's worked for generations. But if these regs finalize, millions at risk means your risk. Stick with me through this video as we dive deeper into how to protect yourself, what Congress can do, and the real stories from retirees already in the fight. Drop a comment. Have you faced SSDI delays? Hit like if this fired you up. Share with a friend over 50 who needs to hear it. And subscribe to Retirees News and Updates for weekly breakdowns you won't get from the mainstream spin. Your retirement, your rules. Let's keep it that way. Up next, 3 steps to bulletproof your claim today. All right, let's dive right into the guts of this beast. Because knowledge is your first line of defense, and time is not on our side. We've established the threat. Now understand the blueprint. This isn't some wild conspiracy cooked up in a backroom. It's a calculated regulatory assault, dressed up as modernization. That's been simmering since Trump's first term. Back in 2020, the Wall Street Journal got their hands on a draft rule that laid it bare. No longer would the SSA assume age seriously affects a person's ability to adapt to simple, entry-level work. Instead, they'd hike the age cutoff for special considerations from 50 to 55, a move that experts say would have booted tens of thousands off the rolls overnight. Fast forward to today, November 2025, and insiders are buzzing that the sequel is primed for rollout, potentially bundled with that long-overdue update to the SSA's Occupational Requirements Survey. Sounds technical? It is, and that's the genius of it. This data refresh, stalled since Obama, replaces dusty 1991 job stats with fresh ones on what roles demand in skills, strength, and stamina. Noble on paper, right? But buried in the fine print are tweaks to how residual functional capacity gets assessed, redefining what counts as sedentary or light work to exclude more of us who can't hack it anymore. Think about what that means for you, staring down a claim after a lifetime of labor. You're 55, maybe 62, with a bum knee from warehouse days or COPD from factory fumes. Under today's grid rules, that handy chart the SSA uses, folks over 50 get a break if their education and past jobs limit options. But if these changes stick, poof, age blindness kicks in, or worse, the threshold jumps to 60. Suddenly, you're not advanced age deserving leeway. You're just another applicant expected to retrain for gig economy scraps like app-based delivery, ignoring that at our age, adaptability is a myth sold to millennials. The Urban Institute crunched the numbers. 20% fewer approvals across the board, but for seniors like us, up to 30%. That's potentially 200,000 older workers per year left high and dry, per projections from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. And it's not just SSDI. SSI gets collateral damage, with tighter income/asset tests. that could yank eligibility from low-income elders already scraping by on fixed incomes. But here's where it gets personal and infuriating. I've heard from viewers just like you. Tom from Ohio, 58, fought for 18 months through appeals after a heart attack sidelined him from trucking. He won, barely, thanks to those age factors. Now, he'd be toast. Or Linda in Florida, 52, with fibromyalgia flaring from nursing shifts. Her claims pending. But these regs could retroactively haunt her if they redefine pain as something you just power through. The system's already a gauntlet. 65% denial rate at initial review, ballooning to 1 million in backlog as Doge's efficiency crusade axes 7,000 SSE jobs, turning processing times into a cruel joke. Remember those 30,000 deaths in 2023 while waiting? That's not ancient history. It's the baseline they're building on, with no relief in sight. Trump's Doge duo, Musk and Ramaswamy, aren't fixing backlogs. They're fueling them, slashing staff under the guise of waste, while these regs quietly cull the herd.